Join me as I take on the challenge of navigating through the wilderness and see what happens when I let faith guide my every step. Being led by God through a spiritual wilderness can be a daunting experience. It's a season where everything seems uncertain, and we're forced to confront our deepest fears and insecurities. This wilderness experience can be transformative, but it requires us to trust in God's guidance, even when the path ahead is unclear. It's a journey that can help us grow in our faith and discover the strength and resilience that lies within us. Feeling isolated, alone, and disconnected from the world around us is a common experience during life's wilderness seasons. The silence can be deafening, and the absence of clear direction can be overwhelming. We may find ourselves questioning our decisions, wondering if we've made a mistake, and struggling to find our bearings in the midst of uncertainty. Our minds can become a battleground where fear and doubt wage war against our faith, making it difficult to discern the voice of God. The isolation can be so intense that we may feel like we're the only ones going through this experience, that nobody understands what we're facing, and that we're completely on our own. The feelings of confusion that arise during these seasons can be paralyzing, making it hard to take even the smallest step forward. We may feel like we're walking in circles, unable to find our way out of the wilderness, and that every step we take leads us deeper into the unknown. The confusion can be so overwhelming that we may start to doubt our own abilities and question whether we're truly hearing from God. We may feel like we're stuck in a never-ending cycle of uncertainty, where every door we try leads to a dead end, and every path we take leads to more questions than answers. The wilderness can be a place where our faith is tested, where we're forced to confront our own limitations, and where we must learn to trust in God's sovereignty. Doubt can be a crippling emotion during these seasons, making it difficult to trust in God's plan and to believe that He's working everything out for our good. We may doubt our own identity, and wonder if we're truly who we think we are. The doubt can be so debilitating that we may start to wonder if God has abandoned us, if He's still with us, and if He's still speaking to us. We may feel like we're losing our grip on reality, and that everything we thought we knew about ourselves and about God is being turned upside down. The doubt can be so overwhelming that we may start to wonder if we'll ever find our way out of the wilderness, and if we'll ever experience the freedom and the peace that we so desperately crave. Moses is a great example of someone who faced a wilderness experience and who navigated it with God's guidance. He spent 40 years in the wilderness, tending sheep, and learning to trust in God's plan. During that time, he encountered God in a burning bush and received a call to lead the Israelites out of slavery and into the Promised Land. Moses' wilderness experience was one of preparation, where he learned to trust in God's voice and to obey His commands. He faced many challenges and overcame many obstacles, but through it all, he remained faithful and trusted in God's sovereignty. His story is a powerful reminder that God is always with us, even in the darkest and most uncertain times. The Israelites also experienced a wilderness season, where they wandered for 40 years after being freed from slavery in Egypt. During that time, they faced many challenges, including hunger, thirst, and rebellion. But through it all, God was with them, providing for their needs and guiding them towards the Promised Land. Their wilderness experience was one of testing, where they learned to trust in God's provision and to obey His commands. They faced many obstacles, including giant armies and treacherous terrain, but through it all, they remained faithful and trusted in God's power. Their story is a powerful reminder that God is always faithful, and that He always fulfills His promises. Jesus also experienced a wilderness season where He was tempted by Satan and tested in His resolve to obey God's will. During that time, He fasted for 40 days and was tempted with food, power, and glory, but He resisted every temptation and remained faithful to God's plan. His wilderness experience was one of testing, where he learned to trust in God's word and to obey His commands. He faced many challenges, including the temptation to sin and the pressure to conform to the world's standards. But through it all, he remained faithful and trusted in God's sovereignty. His story is a powerful reminder that we too can overcome any temptation, and that we too can trust in God's power. The story of Elijah is another powerful example of someone who faced a wilderness experience and who navigated it with God's guidance. He spent time in the wilderness, hiding from King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, who were seeking to kill him. During that time, he encountered God in a still, small voice, and received a call to continue prophesying and to trust in God's plan. Elijah's wilderness experience was one of renewal, where he learned to trust in God's voice and to obey His commands. He faced many challenges, including the threat of death and the pressure to conform to the world's standards, but through it all, he remained faithful and trusted in God's sovereignty. His story is a powerful reminder that God is always with us, even in the darkest and most uncertain times. I remember a powerful breakthrough moment in my own life, when I was going through a wilderness season and I felt lost and alone. I was struggling to trust in God's plan, and to believe that He was working everything out for my good. But then, I stumbled upon a verse in the Bible that said God is our refuge and our strength and ever-present help in times of trouble. That verse spoke directly to my heart, and helped me to see that God was with me, even in the midst of uncertainty. It helped me to trust in His sovereignty, and to believe that He was working everything out for my good. That breakthrough moment was a turning point for me, and it helped me to navigate the rest of my wilderness season with faith and with confidence. That breakthrough moment was a powerful reminder that God is always with us, even in the darkest and most uncertain times. It reminded me that He is our refuge and our strength, and that He is always working everything out for our good. It helped me to see that the wilderness is not a place of punishment but a place of preparation, where we learn to trust in God's plan and to obey His commands. That breakthrough moment was a powerful testimony to God's faithfulness, and it helped me to trust in His sovereignty, even when the path ahead is unclear. It reminded me that we are not alone in the wilderness, and that God is always with us, guiding us and directing us. The breakthrough moment was also a powerful reminder that we must learn to trust in God's timing, and to believe that He is working everything out for our good. It reminded me that the wilderness is a season of waiting, where we learn to trust in God's plan and to obey His commands. It helped me to see that the wilderness is not a place of stagnation, but a place of growth, where we learn to trust in God's sovereignty and to believe in His faithfulness. That breakthrough moment was a powerful testimony to God's love, and it helped me to trust in His goodness, even when the path ahead is unclear. It reminded me that we are not just passing through the wilderness, but we are being transformed by it, and that we are being prepared for the promises that God has in store for us. As I look back on that breakthrough moment, I am reminded of the importance of trust and faith during difficult times. I am reminded that the wilderness is not a place to be feared, but a place to be embraced, where we learn to trust in God's plan and to obey His commands. I am reminded that the wilderness is a season of growth, where we learn to trust in God's sovereignty and to believe in His faithfulness. That breakthrough moment was a powerful reminder that we are not alone in the wilderness, and that God is always with us, guiding us and directing us. It was a reminder that we must learn to trust in God's timing, and to believe that He is working everything out for our good. In summary, being led by God through a spiritual wilderness can be a daunting experience, but it's also a transformative one. We may face feelings of isolation, confusion, and doubt, but we can navigate these challenges with God's guidance. The Bible is full of examples of individuals who faced wilderness experiences and who trusted in God's plan. We can learn from their stories and apply their principles to our own lives. By trusting in God's sovereignty and believing in His faithfulness, we can overcome any obstacle and emerge from the wilderness stronger and more resilient. If you've been through a wilderness experience, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Share your story, and let's encourage one another to trust in God's plan and to believe in His faithfulness. If you're currently going through a wilderness season, I want to remind you that you're not alone, and that God is with you, guiding you and directing you.